I've never been a huge fan of day trading. It's stressful, time consuming, and honestly most people end up losing money. But I do love testing out different strategies for videos because it's one of the best ways to actually learn and see what works in the real world. There are literally thousands of different strategies out there. Some are super simple while some are super complicated. So I thought to myself, does it really have to be that complicated? What if I just use something super simple that almost every trader knows and see what happens? And that is when I decided to do day trading using only the RSI indicator for 1 week. If you are new to trading, RSI stands for Relative Strength Index. It's one of the most popular technical indicators out there. The RSI basically measures if a move is strong or weak, basically whether an asset is overbought or oversold. It ranges from 0 to 100. When the RSI goes above 70, that means that the asset is overbought and that might be time for a pullback. If the RSI goes down to 30, that means that the asset is usually oversold, which means a bounce might come. In short, the RSI helps traders spot a potential reversal in the market. So this channel is simple. For 7 days, I will only be using the RSI to decide if I go long or short. No trend lines, no support or resistance or whatever, I'm only going to be using the RSI. The indicator is very simple, so the strategy is also very simple. When the RSI enters or gets close to the overbought zone, I'll look for a short position, expecting the price to drop. When the RSI dips into the overbought zone, I'll be going long, expecting the price to go up. Since this is a more short-term trading experiment, I'll be using the 1 hour time frame. On that time frame, the RSI goes into the overbought and oversold zone almost on the daily, so that will be enough trades to trade for a whole week basically. The rules are straightforward: 1 to 2 trades per day. Only trade when RSI is in or near overbought 70 or oversold 30. I'm only gonna be trading crypto. 7 trading days total, no exceptions. So let's get into it. On day 1, I went for the biggest crypto coin, which is of course Bitcoin. At that point, Bitcoin had just had a small rally and the RSI had been sitting in the overbought zone for quite a while. That looked like a good setup for a short position. Now the tricky part about using only the RSI indicator is to figure out where to put your take profit and stop loss at. The indicator doesn't really give you that, so you're gonna have to decide yourself. For this challenge, I decided to use recent highs for stop loss and a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio for take profit, which is pretty standard. Since this is short-term trading and I don't have a huge account, I'm gonna be using like 10 to 20x leverage. Otherwise, I would not be making any profit because it's so short-term. Unfortunately, this first trade didn't go as planned. It got stopped out with $21 loss. And the funny or frustrating part is that it literally went just below my stop loss before heading down and hitting where my take profit would have been. So yeah, that's just a classic crypto move, but yeah, it is what it is. Not the best start, but we'll get back. Now on day 2, there weren't really any coins in the overbought or oversold zone. Most of the market was kinda in that middle range of the RSI, but Ethereum was pretty close and had been on a downtrend in the short term. It was also sitting around some minor support levels, so I decided to go for a long position here. And this one worked out perfectly. The RSI slowly climbed back up and the price followed. So this trade hit the take profit and ended up making us $43 in profit. What's super nice about this challenge is that it's super easy to make decisions. I spent maybe 15 minutes going through different coins, charts, and checking the RSI to see what trade I would like to go for. No overthinking, no complicated analysis. So by the end of day 2, I was back in profit. Now, not every day can be a win. Day 3 and 4 were both short positions that didn't end up working out. Together, that lost me about $43. This was around early October when the markets were starting to heat up again after a pretty flat September. So even though the RSI was saying that the asset was overbought, the momentum was too strong and it ended up losing me money. That's a key thing about the RSI. It can stay in the overbought or oversold zone for quite some time, especially in trending markets. So sometimes you end up shorting strength and buying weakness too early. So on day 5 I was looking for a long position. Bitcoin wasn't in the oversold zone, but XRP was after a sharp decline. This setup looked clean, RSI below 30, strong drop, possible bounce area. I entered a long position, set my stop loss just below the recent low and aimed for 2x my risk. This played out beautifully. Within a few hours, XRP started bouncing, RSI moved back above 30, and I closed the trade with a $54 profit. Nothing insane, but realistic. And that's the whole point of these videos. I'm not here to show you $10,000 fake profit and selling you a course like a lot of these gurus are. I want to show you what real small scale trading actually looks like. Interestingly, this was also the day where Bitcoin put in its new all-time high at 125k. The whole market was just buzzing, so you could have longed anything and made profit. So yeah, super nice. Day 6 landed on a Sunday. And if you have been trading crypto, you probably know that the weekends are a bit more quiet. But after Bitcoin putting in a new all-time high, I was expecting a cool down, especially for the altcoins. Chainlink had just been in the overbought zone, showing some weakness, so I decided to short it. The idea was that even if Bitcoin held strength, also might correct a bit more. The trade started out well, but ended up moving sideways for most of the day. Sunday's price action was slow, but by the evening the RSI was starting to roll over and the price started to dip slightly, so a small win. Day 7, the last day of the challenge, and I was feeling good. Bitcoin had just put in that new all-time high, but something was still telling me that a short position was gonna be better now. The RSI across multiple coins was in the overbought zone, so I decided to take my shot. But I didn't just open one trade this day, I ended up opening 2, one for Ethereum and one for Chainlink, both short positions, hoping to close this challenge out strong. But both of these trades on day 7 ended up losing, even though the price actually pulled back. Actually, let me show you how it played out. You can see that both were just above my entry before dropping straight down past my take profit levels. This one hurt because it meant that I only ended up making $9 from this trading experiment. So after trading for 7 days only using the RSI, here's what I have to say. RSI is a fantastic indicator and a great learning tool. It's simple, visual, and gives you a good idea of where the momentum is starting to hit. But when you start trading with it blindly, without combining it with other indicators or support and resistance or whatever, it can give you false signals. On the 1 hour time frame, the RSI resets quickly. Sometimes when, let's say, the RSI is in the overbought zone, it might just move sideways, cooling off the RSI without any real change in the price basically. So you might think a reversal is coming, but it's just cooling off by moving sideways, so you end up losing money because of that. So would I recommend only trading using RSI? No, not as a full strategy, but it is a great starting tool to understand how the markets move. You can definitely use it as a part of a bigger system, maybe combining it with some moving averages or some more structure basically. And that's the real takeaway here. Simple doesn't mean it's bad, but you need more context in my opinion. This experiment, just like all my others, remind me why I don't like day trading. While with this strategy I didn't spend so much time looking at charts, but with other day trading strategies you spend so much time looking at charts or whatever, and you just end up losing money. I think it's way better to have a long-term plan where you just DCA into some of the bigger coins. So day trading is definitely not for everyone. Personally, I prefer swing trading or more long-term spot trading because it doesn't feel like gambling like day trading can feel sometimes, in my opinion. But I'm glad I did this challenge. It forced me to be disciplined, to stick to the plan and risk management. All skills that matter, no matter what kind of trader you are. And that's of course the beauty of these experiments. You learn something new about the market and about yourself every time. So remember, progress doesn't always come from huge wins. Sometimes it's about showing up, trying again, and learning a bit more every day. Keep going, even if it's slow, that's where the real growth happens. So that wraps up the 7 days of trading using only the RSI indicator. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss any of my videos. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.